Over a month ago, Shane Van Gisbergen pulled off one of the biggest upsets in NASCAR history. The New Zealander who came from the world of Australian supercar racing is now looking at a full transition to the world of NASCAR. Shane, though, was not the first from his series to try this. As a matter of fact, another came to America and won just like Shane not even 20 years ago. His story is a little bit different though, but one that's quite unforgettable. From Tasmania, Australia, he was Marcos Ambrose. Marcos built his name in Australian V8 supercars. He won 28 races during his time there, 2 consecutive championships in 2003 and 2004. And in 2005, while he dominated the early parts of the year, he had a run-in with rival Greg Murphy in the Bathurst 1000, which sunk him in standings. He followed the title hunt and began supporting teammate at Stone Brothers Racing, Russell Ingall's championship hopes. It was after that, Ambrose officially had grown tired of his time in Australia, and decided to move to the land of opportunity. He signed with Ford to run the Truck Series with the Wood Brothers and JTG Racing. Everything was looking good for Marcos, till NASCAR didn't clear the Aussie. They said he wasn't able to run the first 3 races at Daytona, Fontana, or Atlanta, due to them being bigger tracks. They decided to make his first start at Martinsville, where he qualified 20th, but eventually finished 33rd. He was involved in an accident, tanking his first start. Marcos had poor runs all the way till Milwaukee, where he had some high points in qualifying. 3rd in Charlotte, 2nd at Michigan, 9th in Milwaukee, and his first connection success came at Kansas with a 4th place starting spot, eventually getting 3rd. He's listed as leading a lap as well, which was the first lap. But for whatever reason, I cannot find the race replay of this event. If this is true, Marcos somehow went from 4th to 1st, which must have been an impressive run. The next event he won the pole for, and led 49 laps before finishing 19th. He got another 3rd at Nashville, a 7th at Vegas, and a 10th at Texas. Overall, pretty modest success. His qualifying was extremely good though. A 12.7 average start, which, that sounds mediocre, but if we were to take a look at the only track where pure mechanical speed is on display in qualifying, it'd be the freshly repaved Talladega. The truck that day slotted 30th. Marcos was obviously overperforming the equipment already. For 2007, they slotted him up to the Xfinity Series. He ran his first road course race in NASCAR, getting 8th. Then 10th at Vegas. Overall, he had more modest success, until Montreal.
What's Ambrose trying to do here? What's he thinking for this restart?
He wants to get a good start so he could get away with a couple car lengths, so he has a little breathing room getting into 1. If he gets out of 1 with some breathing room, boy, I tell you, he's been fast and he could yard these guys by a couple car lengths. His big thing is he has to get through the gears good. Hopefully he got the thing cleaned out. He doesn't spin the tires. So if he gets a good start, he wants to get away by a couple car lengths right here.
All right, 50 yards, Marcus. Green, 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 green.
Harvick inside of Pruitt for 4th place. Pruitt shuts the door on him. Harvick hits him back, and he gets Fellows. Big pile up down in turn 2.
Took out his teammate. Took out his own car he owns.
They're still running into each other trying to get through it. Brad Coleman involved, Ron Hornaday involved, and up front, Robbie Gordon by Ambrose, who goes back on him.
Chaos ensues as Robbie Gordon airs frustration with Marcos after the contact. It's going to be a green light checkered finish for Marcos, who is given the lead over the angry American.
Doesn't look like the 55 is moving behind the 33.
No. So we'll probably see the black flag for Robbie Gordon here. The question is, what will we see between Robbie Gordon and Marcos Ambrose as we come to this restart? It got wild last time down in these first couple of corners. What's it going to be this time? There it is. Couldn't see that coming, could you?
He might just have to drive off the island because NASCAR might be just a little mad at him.
While Marcos didn't win, he impressed big time. His other highlight was a pole and a 4th place at Memphis later that year. After 2008, it was clear to Tad Schechter it was time for Cup racing. It was only 11 races that season. His first start came at Sonoma. He ran well but lost ignition, finishing 42nd. For Watkins Glen, Marcos started 43rd. Came all the way back in the race to finish 3rd. This is the record for the worst starting position for anyone to ever finish top 3 in a Watkins Glen race ever. Outside of that and Cup for Marcos, he only had one other top 20 at Phoenix. For Xfinity though, Marcos again ran full time. He got 2nd at Mexico City, 6th at Kentucky, and a 3rd at Montreal. The next race, however, was at a track Marcos would come to love in NASCAR. Marcos Ambrose was absolutely elite at Watkins Glen. He won for the first time at the Upstate New York Road Course in 2008 in the Busch Series. It was now time for Marcos to go Cup Series racing, full time in 2009. He started with a 17th at the Daytona 500, then a 10th at Bristol, a 4th at Talladega, and a 6th at Pocono. For Sonoma, he grabbed 3rd after starting there as well, and then Watkins Glen, he grabbed 2nd. He dueled Cup veterans all day, but lost to Tony Stewart. It was after leading 9 laps. In the Xfinity race, however, he won again, leading 26th this time, and now going back to back. Ambrose also dominated Montreal, but again, had misfortune strike.
It's the grip. He's trying to fight that grip off the corner.
All right.
He gets in the bumper. He's pushing Ambrose.
Now he's got one more chance going into 13. Marcus taking the defensive line down the middle, saying if you're going to go, you're going to tell me where you're going first. Here he comes into 13.
Well, Carl Edwards is doing everything he can right here. And
Marcus!
Big time curve. Here comes
It's going to
Edwards.
cost him. No! Can you believe this? Carl Edwards gets around him. Marcus makes one mistake all day, and it's going to cost him the win.
Outside of that, Ambrose also finished 3rd at the Bristol Night Race, and finished 18th in overall standings. For 2010, Marcos' biggest highlight would come in wine country. All day he would duel Jimmy Johnson for victory at Sonoma, and eventually he got control of the race late. But under caution,
on the track.
Yeah. Unless he's lost a gear. This is going to be interesting.
He just got a gift. He just said, check it out, said you just got the gift for the day. That's it. It looks like Marcus was not allowed to go back to his spot.
Yeah.
So that is absolutely huge.
That is very big, but that is the rule.
Johnson would go on to win with Ambrose grabbing another top 10 on a road course, 6th. For Watkins Glen, he would battle Juan Pablo Montoya on and off all day, but the 42 car would prevail over the 47. Ambrose would come home 3rd, and in the Xfinity race, he would again win at Watkins Glen. He also ran Montreal that year, where once again, bad luck struck. He had an ignition issue that took him out of his chances to win after being the most dominant car. Whilst 2010 seemed good, 2011 was possibly his greatest season in the sport. He moved to Richard Petty Motorsports in the 9 car, and immediately saw success. A 4th at Vegas, 6th at Texas, 3rd at Dover, 6th in the Coke 600. For his expectations, he also underperformed in Sonoma, which was a 5th place. But at his home away from home, there would be no such thing as underperforming. An accident with 2 to go sets up a green-white checkered finish. Marcos is up there, but he's behind Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski.
In the 18, Marcos Ambrose to the outside of the track in the 9. Brad Keselowski and Martin Truex behind them, and the ever-aggressive Juan Pablo Montoya lurking back there inside of row number 3. Green-white checker, the green flag, they race. If they get back around to the white without a caution, the next flag ends the race. Who's it going to be?
Ambrose spun the tires some. Brad Keselowski going by him.
Kyle Busch lights him up.
He's sideways. Here comes Brad.
Contact. Keselowski is through to the lead.
Wow. Here comes Montoya, but he's not able to hold off Kyle Busch. Okay, this interlude's going to be exciting up here. Keselowski's going to have to really guard. Ambrose hard in the throttle.
A little bump there, a little nudge.
Have to know Kyle Busch is going to be close here too. Tell you what, Ambrose better get down in this corner good, or Brad's going to be all over him. Maybe a little bump right here from Brad. Kyle Busch coming hard. Oh, he's still sideways.
flag.
No mistake, bring it on.
One lap to go. Next flag ends the race. Do they have enough fuel to come back around and finish it? Kyle Busch looking to get back around Keselowski.
Ambrose would achieve Cup Series goal for the first time. Became the first man from the land down under to win in NASCAR's top division. He also achieved victory in Montreal finally that year in Xfinity, capping off another one of Marcos' challenges. For 2012, Marcos again was speedy in the 9. He became the first man to go 200 miles an hour in NASCAR qualifying in over 2 decades, unofficially making him the fastest Aussie ever. He ran top 20 pace all year in a mid-pack car. And coming to Watkins Glen, he decided to put on perhaps his most memorable moment ever.
He could see that Ambrose's car was really going away.
I mean, that 9's bobbing around.
I see the 18 moving around like he might be out of fuel. That's exactly what I was thinking, Andy. I was wondering if he was running out of fuel here.
Coming to the white flag.
I'll tell you, the 2 cars closed that gap. I don't know if it's that or if he thinks he might have a flat tire or something like that. He's really moving the car around. It doesn't look very stable right now.
1 lap to go. Kyle Busch, defensive line into turn 1.
There's something wrong with the 18.
Now Ambrose trying to get second from Keselowski while he tries to get the lead from Kyle. Contact in the S's.
It's right. Got it.
Dangerous spot on the track for Kyle to be sideways. Looks like he gets off to the guardrail. No caution yet. Here's the race for the lead.
Keselowski's got damage on the left front.
Is the tire going to make it all the way around? And will the 9 help him? Everybody's in the grass.
Oh, you're clear. Dig.
That might have been the race right there. We'll see. No, Keselowski's slower. Keselowski's got a problem. Trying to stay with Ambrose. 2 final corners. Do they use the bumpers? A nudge, a push. Can Ambrose save it? To the checkered flag. Who gets here first?
Clear.
Ambrose 9, Keselowski 2. Final corner. Marcos Ambrose is going to win at Watkins Glen in a remarkable last lap turn of events.
Through the oil dumped on track from Bobby Labonte, he was able to outduel that year's Cup champion and go back-to-back at the Glen. Marcos would have a quiet 2013 in terms of performance, but in 2014, Marcos would again give us some highlights. His first would come off track at Richmond, where he would get in an argument with Casey Mears over an incident on track. This would result in this haymaker landing on Mears. Casey would go on Race Hub later the next day outlining the situation and showing off the shiner he got from Ambrose. I will give Mears this. He took one hell of a punch and stayed on his feet. And his last highlight, of course, came at Watkins Glen. One last win there in the Xfinity Series, and in Cup, one last awesome duel, this time with A.J. Allmendinger for the win. We come up second that day. Marcos would leave NASCAR after 2014 and return to his homeland before retiring from racing later that year. Whilst Ambrose has slipped into the subconscious of many, and Shane Van Gisbergen has captured awe being the new spectacle from Australia, Marcos Ambrose laid the groundwork. He was the one that kicked ass and made moments we will never forget. Marcos Ambrose was awesome.
On that restart there, he used up all the track he could to keep the 9 high. And the 9 did all he could do to try to get it alongside. All right, have it here. More contact. It's got him out of the groove. We're still on the track.
Right side. He got him. Just you and him there.
Not over yet. It's a left-hander coming up. Allmendinger's in the best spot.
Still there.
Andy Pavement to work with there. Allmendinger holds the lead.